After the end of Yellowstone, there has been a lot of discussion about what comes next for the Dutton family. We already know that the Yellowstone universe expanded with prequels like 1883 and 1923, and now there have been talks about another possible spin-off titled 1969. But if 1969 is really going to happen, what will it actually be about? Will we see a younger version of John Dutton III? And could Kevin Costner somehow return to the franchise in a new way? Make sure to watch till the end to know more interesting details about 1969. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now, from my point of view, I think 1969 would be one of the most important chapters in the entire Yellowstone timeline if it gets made. Why? Because this is the missing bridge between the older generation we saw in 1923 and the modern John Dutton we followed for 5 seasons. We've seen how the land was settled, we've seen how it was protected during the Great Depression era, but we haven't fully seen how the cold, powerful rancher we met in Yellowstone was shaped during his teenage years. If 1969 becomes a reality, I believe the show will center around 2 main characters, John Dutton II and his son, John Dutton III. John II would likely be in his mid-40s during 1969, already running the ranch with a firm and disciplined mindset. From what we understand about the Dutton bloodline, the men in this family are not soft. They are traditional, emotionally distant, and deeply loyal to the land. So I think John Dutton II would be exactly that, strict, commanding, and completely focused on protecting the ranch at all costs. Now here's where it gets interesting. John Dutton III would be around 13 years old in 1969. That's still a child, but in the Dutton family, childhood doesn't last very long. I believe we would see a young boy being raised like a grown man. No easy life, no normal teenage experiences. Instead, early mornings on horseback, learning about cattle, understanding enemies, and being told that the ranch is more important than anything else. And I think this is exactly how the John we later saw in Yellowstone became so emotionally guarded and strong. A big question fans are asking is, will Kevin Costner return? Realistically, I don't think he would play the teenage version of John Dutton III, of course. That would require a younger actor who resembles him. However, I believe there is still a possibility that Kevin Costner could appear in narration scenes, flash forwards, or even as an older memory figure guiding the story. Taylor Sheridan has used creative storytelling methods before, and bringing Costner back in a limited but powerful way could connect the audience emotionally to the past and future. Now, let's talk about casting speculation. There have been rumors for a long time that Matthew McConaughey has wanted to collaborate with Taylor Sheridan. From my perspective, if 1969 happens, he would be a perfect fit to play John Dutton II. He has that strong, southern, commanding presence. He can play intensity without saying much. I think he could bring a powerful depth to the role of a father raising his son in a harsh world. And then there's Jon Bernthal, who has also expressed interest in working with Sheridan again. I believe he could either play a loyal ranch enforcer, someone like a younger version of Rip Wheeler, or even a rival rancher who challenges the Duttons. Imagine the tension between a McConaughey-led John Dutton II and a fierce Bernthal character. That kind of casting alone could make 1969 a massive hit. But what would the story actually explore? Well, 1969 was a major year in American history. The Vietnam War was ongoing. Protests were happening. America was changing socially and politically. I believe the show would use this backdrop to shape the characters. Perhaps John Dutton III would be influenced by the war atmosphere. Maybe cousins or family members join the military. Maybe the ranch struggles economically because of national changes. These historical elements could add depth without taking focus away from the ranch itself. Another important angle I believe we would see is ranch rivalry. The Dutton Ranch has always been a target. In every generation, someone wants that land. So I think 1969 would show neighboring ranchers, developers, or even internal family disputes trying to gain control. There's also speculation about different branches of the Dutton family. Perhaps a relative from Jack Dutton's line or Spencer Dutton's line challenges ownership. Internal conflict would make the story even more dramatic. Speaking of Spencer, his legacy might still echo in 1969. We know from earlier timelines that the Dutton men often carry generational trauma. I believe John Dutton II would constantly compare his son to his own father, creating pressure and emotional distance. This generational expectation is a theme that Yellowstone has always explored, and 1969 could show its origin in full detail. We might also see the early relationship between John Dutton III and his future wife, Evelyn Dutton. Showing them as teenagers could add emotional softness to an otherwise tough story. Seeing young love before the tragedy we know happens later would make the audience even more connected to John's character. Another huge element that I believe would play a role is the Native American storyline. In Yellowstone, the relationship between the Dutton family and the Broken Rock Reservation is central. Thomas Rainwater becomes one of John Dutton's biggest rivals, but also someone who shares a deep understanding of the land. 1969 could show a young Thomas Rainwater, or at least the early tensions between the families. This would beautifully connect the past to the future and show that the land dispute was never simple. Now let's talk about tone. I think 1969 would feel slightly different from 1883 and 1923. It wouldn't be about survival from nature, it would be about survival in a modernizing America. The ranch would still matter, but the threats would look different. Political pressure, economic shifts, cultural change, and in the middle of all that, a teenage boy being molded into a protector of land. As for the release date, nothing is confirmed. From my point of view, if Paramount decides to move forward, I think we could realistically see it around 2027 or 2028. It would likely come after other announced spin-offs like 1944, but before the Yellowstone universe fully slows down. At the end of the day, I believe 1969 has the potential to be one of the most emotionally powerful chapters of the Dutton saga. It could answer the biggest question fans still have. How did John Dutton III become the man we met in Yellowstone? And will Kevin Costner return in some creative way to tie it all together? Do you think 1969 should focus more on John Dutton II or young John Dutton III? Would you like to see Matthew McConaughey in the Yellowstone universe? And do you think Kevin Costner could make a surprise return? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates about the Yellowstone universe.